2 of the Week 15 podcast here. And we're going to bring you some... What are we doing? Sleepers?
Yeah, I guess.
We're doing some sleepers.
I got a good one this week that nobody has yet, and everybody
I
should
have
pick him
somebody
up.
nobody has, and they should definitely have him now.
Yeah, but he's white, so nobody wants him.
Wes Welker and Jordy Nelson are white.
And they're both system guys.
Oh my God. They work in the system.
They're both system
Anyways,
guys.
we're going to bring you some sleepers
Jordy Nelson
here.
is not white. Jordy Nelson's clear. Like Larry Bird.
You're racist against white folk.
You gotta just go with your sleepers. Let's go. Let's hear them.
Yours is first.
Which one?
Rod Streeter.
That's the best one of the week. That's my guy. Rod Streeter only owned 0.4% of ESPN leagues. But the guy's coming off of back-to-back huge games. 96 yards and a touchdown 2 weeks ago. 100 yards last week. He's slowly moving into becoming Oakland's number one guy, which, they got, like I said, they got a little bit of stable going on there. It's not like an elite offense. They looked like crap last week, but Streeter looked pretty good on that Thursday night game.
I'm on that Raiders wagon right now.
They're playing Kansas City, man.
Yeah.
That defense is just... We're not going there. But Kansas City, they need help right now. That's a franchise in turmoil like Arizona, but I really do like Rod Streeter this week. The guy's on 15 receptions his senior year of high school. Like I said, senior year of college at Temple. He only had 15 catches his senior year, but the guy's got, averaging 100 yards a game right now. He's got a touchdown. He's a deep threat guy. I really like him. Thinking about dropping Cecil Shorts for him. It's just a guy that he's unreliable at this point, but he's a really big up-and-comer. Kind of how T.Y. Hilton, Denaro Alexander. He reminds me a lot of what Denaro Alexander was about a month ago before. Well, I guess people still want to pick him up, so it's pointless.
He's still less than 40% owned.
So basically, Rod Streeter will
What?
still be owned in like 98% of all leagues after this league, and he'll probably blow up. Oh yeah, by the way, I don't know if anybody's been preaching Denaro Alexander besides us in the fantasy world. The guy actually had 88 yards and 2 touchdowns last week. He's still only 20%, or I think
it's less than 40. I think it's like 35.
Like 30-some%. I thought it was 27%.
It could be. It may have been.
So congratulations. If you really want to win and you're still alive and he's not available in your leagues, you really
I know
need
the
to grab
guys watching us are picking him up though.
Denaro Alexander might be watching us. We told, I forget who it was last week, to play Denaro Alexander over Roddy White. You're not going to find another fantasy, podcast or people that'll go out on that kind of a limb to say that a guy that's only played 5 games in the NFL to start him over Roddy White. But we did.
Right here at the Staples.
And he was going against the number 1 defense. And we still predicted that he would have a better game than Roddy White. And he did. That was... I apologize to Ricky for the Bryce Brown thing last week, but the Denaro Alexander thing is just huge. That guy, he's got such a good rapport with Phillip Rivers that I take pride in that. So if you can get Denaro Alexander, pick him up. I like Rod Streeter. Good upside, pick him up too. That's what I'm getting at. That's mine.
All right. You're in the playoffs. You got some guys, potentially, that are going to be on buys. Well, not buys. They're just going to be sitting.
Bunch of playoff spots, injuries.
I mean, you're gonna need those guys to fill in the spots. I got 2 guys for you. I'm just gonna throw you one right now, who could fill that void that you possibly have.
I picked him twice this year.
Oh yeah,
he's a sleeper. Nobody picks him up though.
Andrew Hawkins, he's getting 6 targets a game. He's had 16 in the last 2, and last week he actually got 10 points. He put up the 10 point. I mean, you like to see that. And he's going up against Philly this week. I know they've been up and down. But at Cincinnati, he's going to be the number 2 receiver, potentially the number 2 receiver. And I believe he can do it again against Philly this week, get you another 10 spot. So Andrew Hawkins, Cincy, look him up if you're going to have some voids. Wouldn't hurt to check him out.
I can't remember who's behind Green. They got another guy. He's
but
the 3.
Dalton's actually been targeting him pretty good.
He's a roll of the dice guy just because he's 5'7". I mean, he's got tremendous skills. I really like him. That's why I've started him all year in that 20-team league. That was my flex guy the whole year. He gets it. He got it done for me.
And like we said, we're gonna have that league next year. We're gonna start it. Hit us up. I know we got a few of you guys that are trying to get in.
Just let us mail you a trophy.
We would mail you a trophy.
Or my T-shirt. If you want a T-shirt. No.
You choose.
But, yeah, that league, we'll hype it up. Wait till we do the off-season podcast for our draft previews, and we're going to touch base with you guys then, so look forward to that.
Very well.
My next guy is, I guess his name really is Joik Bell. We were talking about this over
Whee!
Thanksgiving. I thought that was because we were watching it on that VIP box,
Yeah.
but his name really is Joik Bell. I thought it was Jock Bell, but it's Joik Bell. Whatever. His mama knows something I don't. And he's averaging 5.5 yards per carry and 9.7 yards per reception. Not too shabby for a spot back.
No.
Looks to me like he's a viable start at the flex position at this point in the season. He started getting, they actually split carries last week with LaShore versus Green Bay on the Sunday night game. So, 2 of the last 3 games in standard ESPN scoring, he's had double-digit games, which is amazing considering he only had, I think, 10 carries combined. So his yards per carry is just tremendous. He's that guy's a home run threat at running back. I'm saying now you need to go out and get him, start him. If you can, he's worth the risk at flex. If you're weak, if you're debating between starting like a Fitzgerald or, I don't know, at flex, go with a guy like Joik Bell on the upside. I wouldn't be surprised if he takes control of the carries this week finally. And, oh yeah, did I mention he's playing the Arizona Cardinals this week?
We saw it happen last week.
So both running backs can get 200 yards, but they give up 140 yards rushing a game. So, and Joik Bell's only owned in 10% of all leagues, Dan, so you can get him. He's readily available.
There you go.
So if you're in a crunch, go with him. Pick him up.
I know Chad's pretty high on this next guy. We were talking about him a little bit earlier. But David Wilson, last week, 13 carries, 100 yards, and 2 touchdowns. That's 12 points just in TDs right there.
What was it, punt return, though?
You still get the points.
Defense, special teams.
Well, then our leagues are scored differently. Because I get Randall Cobb return touchdowns.
I don't know what we do in our league. I know most.
Depending on your scoring.
It doesn't matter. He gets in the pay dirt.
He gets
in that pay dirt. Ooh.
But Bradshaw's got a bum knee. It's looking very good for Wilson to get those carries, get
Andre
those
Brown's
yards.
done.
Yeah, it's not looking good for those guys. But David Wilson, he's gonna be there. He's healthy. He's got some fresh legs, and he could chop up some defenses. So I would pick him up definitely because I know he's available.
Pick him up for that back foot form alone. I wanted to do him this week. He was my big guy. I was watching last week like, oh yeah. That's the saga of David Wilson is kind of, though, he was in Tom Coughlin's doghouse in week 1 versus Dallas. He fumbled, and the guy barely saw any time since then until the Andre Brown injury. It's actually surprising they gave Andre Brown the carries over him. It's just because of the fumble. And they said this coming out of Virginia Tech. The guy was going to be a home run guy, but he just not consistently protecting the football. That's his big thing. If he can protect the ball, Tom Coughlin's going to work with him going forward for next year. He might be a sleeper in your draft.
Always that hazard with the home run guys losing the ball. I mean,
well, he really is a fumble-prone running back.
I know that, but so is the Steelers' backfield.
I'm not talking about that. I'm going to go on to my next sleeper. You guys will like this? Got my Browns defense. They are only owned in 33% of leagues, Dan.
Rightfully
And
so.
I think you're starting them in your championship or your semifinal match this week. That tells you right there all you need to know. Steeler fans starting the Browns defense to win a championship.
It's not like Browns fans never started the Steelers defense.
Here's my big reason for it. RG3, very unlikely it looks like. I mean, this is only Tuesday while we're filming this, so there's a lot of
things could happen.
I mean, ESPN's covering this like the election this year hasn't been covered as close as the RG3. No, they didn't cover the election as close as they're covering the RG3 injury status right now. ESPN is all up in that right now. But as of now, it looks like... I don't want to talk about them and Andrew Luck. Great guys, but you got to earn it. You don't just get handed Hall of Fame plaques like they are.
You do now.
Anyways.
Participation ribbons!
We're not going there. Anyways. The Browns haven't allowed 20 points in the last month against an opposing team. Without RG3, that Washington defense is bummed out. Here's my major stat on this. Joe Hayden's playing this week. With Joe Hayden in the lineup, the Browns are 5-3, and they got 20 takeaways, Dan, which is not too shabby. Without him, 0-5, and they give up 30 points a game. So there you go. That's our defensive quarterback. He's playing this week, so you need to grab the Browns defense and start him over your raggedy little Philadelphia Eagles defense that you're hanging on to, or your Jets, or whatever your...
Because 6 weeks ago, they had a pick 6.
you still start the Eagles defense, you're probably not in the playoffs.
You're not in the
so
playoffs.
don't worry about it. But
All right.
I'm benching the Chargers defense for the Browns defense this week. So.
Going on to one of those guys I was telling you about a little bit ago. Made that miraculous one-handed catch out there in no man's land.
I don't even know who this guy is.
I know. I tried to tell him. He didn't.
I don't like
It
weight
was on
receivers.
SportsCenter top 10.
I don't like weight receivers.
I don't like you.
Unless they're Tom Crabtree, I like him.
How do you not like Jordy Nelson or Wes Welker?
Oh, I'd just go.
Chris Durham. With Broyles and Young out, he's slotted for the number 2 spot this week. And last week, I mean, he did look good. He had a drop, but, I mean, you're going to have those even. I mean, they're white receivers, as Chad says. But 9 targets last week, had 4 receptions. He's going to increase a lot in the targets here this week coming up, which potentially could lead to more yards, maybe a touchdown. But last week
he went to Georgia, right? This is the same guy that I'm thinking of. I remember him in college, if that's him.
I actually did not know where he went to college.
I think he went to Georgia.
But he's 54 receiving yards last week on 4 receptions. Not too bad, especially for 4 receptions. I mean, he's not a home run threat, but he is 6'5", so he could up there and get the ball. But Chris Durham.
Did the Madden curse just apply to other wide receivers in Detroit? You know, is Megatron like that big of an aura guy that he reflected the Madden curse and everybody around him in his receiving unit got it? Titus Young's out. Broyles is out. What about Mike Thomas? Is he out? Or what are they doing with him?
He was actually supposed to be the number 2 receiver, but Chris has actually jumped him.
No,
so
watch out for Mike. Mike Thomas might be a sleeper then too. I loved Mike Thomas. Definitely another 2009 draft class guy at Arizona. He was one of my sleepers. Him and Bear Pasco were 2 guys that I really liked in the Senior Bowl that year.
Yes, he was the University of Georgia receiver.
All right, I remember him in college. Definitely didn't think that guy would make an impact in the NFL or even play, but he's big. He's white.
Oh my God.
He's strong.
We have white quarterbacks in the league.
I'm just messing with you. Wes Welker might make the Hall of Fame.
I might kick you in your nuts. But go America. You don't watch our podcast, you're on the terrorist watch list.
I support that.
All right.
On to the next segment for shout-outs.
Brownies. And sit-ems. But not like you guys were doing.
Big Browns.